Hey all, Hipper here. So today we are taking out the Martel and it's with an agile build, obviously, because that's what I always run on this ship here. And I use Ru, and I always have, with Baltimore and either Takao or one of the other agile inspirations. Martel was the original agile cruiser. I probably said that a few times now, but it was the first cruiser where an agile build actually really worked on, and it is still one of the absolute best agile cruisers, especially because of this thing here, the engine boost, which allows you to go 44 knots or something like that with a 1.9 second rudder and less than 700 meter turning radius. So it's a surprisingly agile ship. And at the same time, it has excellent HE and it has excellent ballistics and it has excellent AP, very, very good AP. And contrary to Wichita, it also has torpedoes. It does lack the radar of Wichita though, and that's probably the biggest problem with this ship here, because the sonar isn't particularly good. It's not as good as the British or the German sonar. So you really rely on your speed really to chase down destroyers basically, but spotting them in the first place, it's not this ship's strength. But once they are spotted, the fast HE reload on this thing here can really do some absolute damage to destroyers. And like I said, the speed allows you to chase down almost every destroyer in the game. There's a few Russian and French ones that you can't catch, but it's rare to run into them anyway. So on this topic, I think it's time for a tier 7 premium French cruiser. I know we have Charlemagne at tier 6, but I mean that thing is it's pretty horrible, let's just be honest. And of course it looks like we're getting the Colbert soon. I'm guessing it'll be tier 7, but I really have no way of knowing. Colbert being a light cruiser, it's not really something that I'm too excited about. To me, it's just, it seems like to be just another HE spammer, and just like I'm doing now. Sitting behind an island and firing HE. And that's, of course, some ship's strength, and it is something you can do in Martel, except the ballistics aren't really very good at it. I mean, you don't have the high shells that allow you to shoot over islands. It's better than Hipper, but it's still not perfect. And I'm only doing it here because I can just fire over this tiny little outcropping here, just barely. So I'm hoping to whittle down this Vlad here. But as you can see, the other two guys that started with me on this flank here, they've just, they just headed straight into the cap, and obviously they're getting absolutely punished for that. That's unfortunate. So we're now a few minutes into the game, and I've lost everyone I spawned with here on the flank, and I am facing two aggressive battleships on my own, as well as a destroyer and an unknown amount of other battleships somewhere on the map. And of course that's a pretty bad situation. So I'm just contemplating what to do here, because these guys here aren't holding back. They are pushing pretty hard, as you could see in the beginning. Of course my guys were as well, and like a pushing destroyer is great. But because the battleship went into the cap as well, usually I go around the flank on this map here, and then usually the battleships stay in a position roughly where I am now, of course with an actual view of the cap.
The enemy team has taken the lead.
So without battleship support, there's really no point in going out on the flank, because it just means that I'm going to be alone out there once the two guys get removed in here, which of course is what happened. And at least here I have a little bit of cover, so I can plan my next move. Of course it's going to be difficult because like I said, we're down 4 ships already, and 3 of them were here with me, and it seems like the 4th one disappeared from the middle somewhere. So I'm pretty much cut off over on this flank here, and I'm facing an Iowa and a Vladivostok, and of course a destroyer as well, but that's not really a problem. I'm just waiting for him to come and try to spot me. But until then, I just have to be careful, especially about the Vlad. That's a really dangerous battleship to face in Martel. Because yeah, if you played Martel, you know that it's very easy to citadel. As you can see, he was just sitting here waiting for me, because I'm spotted, but I can't spot them. So I knew he was somewhere, but it was hard to know what he was actually up to. He didn't get me very well, because I saw him in the last second, so I managed to deflect most of his shots. And I'm just trying to take him out of the game, like very, very aggressively here. I need him to die, and of course he falls off detection before I can get the last salvo in. So I'm still facing a Vlad and an Iowa and a destroyer over here, and another salvo incoming there. So I have to really be careful with these 2 battleships here. So finally I fall off detection, and that means that I'm hoping the destroyer will come out in some way and try to spot me again. So that's why I don't keep running. I'm going to try to set up a little bit of an ambush here and see if he doesn't actually pop out. And of course he does. There he is. And that's just a perfect setup for Martel here. Like I said, the HE is nasty when it comes to destroyers. And if I can just avoid those 2 battleships incoming salvos there while I clean up the destroyer, we still have a chance on this flank here, because we're down to 4 ships now, and the enemy has 7 ships. So we took care of 1 now. Otherwise, they would have had 8 ships. So it's pretty bad odds here, and we're also getting capped on A now, meaning that the other destroyer is down here at A. So obviously we make a note of that, but I can't turn in right now with this Iowa here, and the Vlad is still got me locked as a target, as you can see there. So I have to either go dark or kite away here, and really all I can do in this situation here is kite away and then hope I can remove this Vlad here, so I get that crossfire out, meaning that then I can move in towards A. And finally I get that last salvo, and someone else takes the last chunk of the Iowa, meaning that there's no battleships left on this flank finally. So I can move in and take care of the other destroyer now. So with those 2 battleships gone, we've got the odds evened a little bit. It's still not looking too great for the blue team here, and unless I can finish off this 2nd destroyer here, then this is pretty much a sure loss. They're already at 700 points, and the destroyer here pops up, and we'll just kick the speed boost into gear and try to outmaneuver him while we slowly pick him off with HE here. Like I said, the HE is really good, and with most builds you get between an 8-second reload and a 9-second reload. I think I had 9.2 because I value the turret rotation higher, but of course I think you can get the reload down to 7.5 seconds or something like that if you really want to, and that's deadly for destroyers because this is a heavy cruiser, 203mm guns with a 7-8 second reload, but of course not on this build here. So the 2nd destroyer I've removed now, and I'm doing a little bit of a token capping here because it's really too late. This battle here is pretty much lost unless my battleship actually starts doing what battleships are good at, and that would be, citadeling this Iowa here. And really the Iowa is broadside, and it really should be not much of a problem, but well, apparently it is. So just to return to Martel here for a second, like I said in the beginning, this is the original agile cruiser. Until this cruiser was put in the game, there was nothing, at least for me, that was called an agile cruiser. And I was using Müller on my Hipper back then, like I think everybody else was. because yeah, there was no point putting Legions on that thing because the rudder was pretty terrible back then before all the buffs. But when Martel came into the game, you could get the rudder down to around 3 seconds, which was very fast at the time. Of course, it's been shaved by about another second now, actually more than that. And obviously, that just opened like a whole new avenue of gameplay, really, where you are much more mobile and you are much more, proactive. And to me, that is the way cruisers are the most fun to play. And I also think they do really well, at least most of them, with an agile build. And it's something not many players run, I think, because it does require a completely different look or, understanding of the game. It's very different from normal cruiser play, and most people just don't adapt to it. So anyway, that's the end of the battle here, and unfortunately it's a loss, but as any Legends player would know, we're pretty used to that. And I don't have anything to be ashamed of. I have more than 2,000 XP, 3 kills, and a solo cap, and whatever. So I hope you enjoyed this Martel battle here. They're pretty rare to see on YouTube, and I'll see you out there.